grand rising, grand evening, whatever time it is for you. So I am seeing and hearing a lot of these things in the collective consciousness here online, that there is an attack on democracy, that there is an illegal war, that there is a war on free speech, a war on free thought, that so many things are changing, and it's due to a specific administration. But what if I told you that nothing's changed? That the only thing that has changed is you. Your level of consciousness, your level of awareness. What if I told you that these individuals are operating and following the same exact blueprint that has been operated and followed for a very long time, far before this specific administration was sitting in the positions that they are for a very, very long time. And the only difference between now and then is that you have the ability and the awareness to see the fallacy, to recognize truth from illusion. What if I told you that the only thing that has changed on our planet and as a collective humanity is our ability to see, to notice, to assess, to ask questions, to objectively observe and see where things don't add up, to see the holes. As evil and diabolical, as clearly narcissistic and just rooted in megalomaniacism, these people that are on the world stage appear. It's important that I share this truth, because if you think that this is the first illegal war, if you believe that these things that you're now observing and seeing haven't been happening for decades, then you have to ask yourself what is being shown and reflected back to you. In the age of Aquarius, the information is the gift. This is a time where all things done in the dark, all systems that were built on lies and illusion, all these things are being brought up out from underneath the earth and placed on top of the soil for observation. Nothing has changed. These things that are occurring have been occurring. These people that you're observing are following the very same blueprint. And I want to speak to their purpose specifically. This specific group, this specific administration. They are pivotal in showcasing and giving more awareness to the truth that there is no justice in our Justice Department, that there is a specific collective and class of individuals, and it doesn't matter which political party that you are a part of, what your religious beliefs are, your demographic, your socio-economical class or status, irregardless of those things, there is a collective of individuals who constructed this system, this false matrix, and who are now, as horrible as the things are that you are observing. If you are able to, and you feel guided to, take a moment to objectively observe and notice the information being gifted to you in these things being carried out by this administration. They are gifting you with the knowledge of what this system, what this democracy truly is. When you pull away the lies, you pull away the illusion, they are showing you who's behind the curtain. They are showing you what is behind the veil. They are showing you that they are gifting you with the truth of the illusion of democracy, the illusion of rights, how truly lawless law is, how there is no justice within the justices, right? How if you are part of, protected by a specific class, a specific collective of individuals, the laws, the checks, the balances, and the rules that apply to you don't apply to them. That it's different when they do it, right? Different set of rules, because the ones who have constructed this false matrix are they're slave handlers. This is a slave system. For very long, we have been indoctrinated and brainwashed into believing, which this is a common coercive control tactic. I wanna zoom in a little bit. Let's go micro. Let's go micro just for a moment. How many of you have had a connection or been trapped in the confines of a relationship with someone who has narcissistic traits and narcissistic personality, traits and behaviors? There was a time where all of a sudden, everyone was being called a narcissist, and everyone is claiming narcissism, and I see it on the internet. People are like, oh, everyone says everyone's a narcissist. It is the same thing that is being reflected back to you on a global scale. It's not that people are using narcissism as a fluff word, or that all of a sudden there's more narcissists. No. These things have always been. The only thing that has changed is our level of awareness and our ability to recognize these patterns of behavior, to recognize this type of psychology, this class of individuals who operate in this very disconnected and black hole soul energy way. It's not that there are more narcissists. It's that there are more individuals whose awareness and conscious ability to notice and to observe, that is what has grown in numbers. The things that you are seeing, the things that you are observing have always been. There is a reason why, even with people noticing the truth from illusion, even people seeing the very blatant injustices and crimes and immoral tyrannical things being carried out, speaking out and calling these things out, they still stand 10 toes down, in their black waters. That is because they are following a blueprint. It is like the reason why it's so difficult, and why, like, every time they do something, it's just exposing more and more. The hole is getting deeper and deeper for this specific class, the Epstein class, the Black Hole Soul Collective, whichever, whatever you call that collective of individuals. They are operating on the same blueprint. The same blueprint that many of you have experienced while being in a relationship with or experiencing narcissistic abuse. It is the same blueprint. Every accusation is simply a... Sorry for that pause, I had a phone call. Every accusation is simply a confession, right? And when you're in these types of narcissistic abuse dynamics, the reason why they start attacking you, the reason why they attempt to destroy your life, get you fired from your jobs, do the smear campaigning, and the lying and the attacking, is for you noticing. It's not because of what they're doing, right? The issue, and this is the way that I've observed this psychology within this collective works, within that specific class of people, whether it's in your interpersonal life at a micro level or at a macro level, they are operating on the same blueprint. It is the same energy working through them. You can find patterns even in dysfunction and chaos. There's a pattern, there's a blueprint that these people operate on, and it is the same blueprint, whether it's being reflected back to you, through the media with, with our world leaders, or what you've experienced in your interpersonal life. It's the same energy, it's the same blueprint, it's the same motive of operations. You are going to be attacked for noticing the tyrannical and diabolical and inhumane behavior. The issue isn't that they are doing these diabolical and tyrannical things and causing harm and destruction and abuses. It's that you noticed it. And so you will be attacked for noticing and for calling these things out. You will... Sorry, I have a lot to say, but I'm trying to compress this in a semi-short video. How can I put this? In your own interpersonal lives, in these type of abusive dynamics with people who have narcissistic traits, you've seen the lengths that people will go to remain hidden in the shadows, to continue hiding, right? You've seen the lengths that people will go to silence you, to oppress you, to destroy you, to discredit you. And in some cases, even to take you up out of here. You are seeing that very same thing play out macroly. That class of individuals, that collective of individuals, they are operating on the same blueprint. The same energy is operating through them that you experienced when you were trapped and bound in the hands of someone who has that very same energy operating through them, and who is operating you under that same blueprint. This NPC type energy, this black hole soul energy, this empty vessel energy, being detached from self, being possessed by everything outside of self because you have no connection to an inner self. These shells of people who have sold their soul, sold their connection to self. And so they have attached to and made built their entire sense of self on everything around them. They cannot access empowerment because there's nothing to connect to within. So they assert power over others. They cannot regulate the self because there's no self to regulate. So they regulate everyone and everything around them. They cannot look at their self or face themselves. So they cast an illusion and try to dominate and control the perceptions and the awarenesses of everyone and everything around them. You call it a spiritual war, but sometimes I like to toy with the perceptual lens of it simply being a war against consciousness and subconsciousness, awareness and unawareness, clarity and illusion. And so I respect people's positions regardless of where they are on their journeys, but it is interesting to see people speak on how there are a war on these things that never were. And in this class, this collective, the Epstein class, doing what they're doing, they are gifting us all with the truth of how all the things that we thought were, right? Justice, fairness, balance, checks and balances, and a system that is built on ethics and diplomacy. It's not real. It's not real. We have had the illusion of a democracy. We have been gifted the illusion of choice. We have been collectively coerced into accepting breadcrumbs, empty promises, love bombing, future faking, only to fall into the arms of a system that creates hell around you and then offers you solutions for it. Just like when, for those of you who are in those narcissistic relationships and dynamics with an abuser who had these same traits. They give you the illusion of choice. They gaslight you until you don't know which way is up. You don't know what's true and what's not. You don't know what is illusion and what is stable ground. They create division and triangulate and isolate. They persecute you for the very things that they've done. They attack you for seeing them, for noticing. They attack you for having awareness. They destroy you for speaking truth and having the facts and the receipts to back up the truths that you speak, right? When you have an entire collective of individuals who have no inner self-control, no ability to self-regulate, and have built their entire sense of self off of everything around them, you realize and you recognize that this entire system is a slave system. There has never been true democracy. In order to have, to choose something, you must have informed consent. But how can you make a choice from a place of informed consent if you're not informed, right? If you're being lied to, if things are being hidden and kept from you, then that means none of those choices are informed. They are coercion. And so, as harmful and diabolical the things are that you are recognizing and noticing, it is also important that we recognize and notice that this is what has always been. This is the truth. You are being gifted with seeing behind the veil, behind the curtain, what this system, what this democracy, what this freedom actually is, which is an illusion. It's an inverted version of what they are selling you, what they are telling you. It is love bombing and future faking and gaslighting. It is coercive control and mind manipulation to allow them to have access to you, to your mind, to your soul, to your energy, to your currency, whether that's energetic currency or, monetarily. It's to have access and continue to have you build for them, war for them, attack each other for them, worship them, right? But all the things that we are fighting over and fighting for, they don't exist. And they haven't. They haven't. We have been fed the illusion of these things. But as soon as you peek behind the curtain, you scrape off the surface, you look through that film, you realize that we've never had any of those things. Nothing has changed but our awareness, our conscious awareness and ability to see truth, to see beyond covert contracts and coercive control and mental manipulation and psyops and gaslighting. And, this is the blueprint. What they are showing you, what you are seeing, what you are now made consciously aware of, this has been the very blueprint that has been playing out for a very long time. This is not the first illegal war. This is not the first time that our justice system has protected abusers, traffickers. You can just see it now. That's the only difference. You have the ability to see. You are no longer under a veil and under the illusion of a collective, intense and severe narcissistic abuse. We are becoming aware of the abuse, the illusion, the mental fog and manipulation that we as a collective humanity have been under. War is sold and bought. And these people are nihilist. And not only nihilist, they're peace and stillness is terrifying to this collective. They feed off of the destruction, off of the bloodshed, off of the anger, off of the upset, off of the me versus you and you versus me, and fuck all that. It's us against tyranny. I remember when I realized how deeply brainwashed and affected I was by growing up in a family and then in a system and then being in relationships with people who have the same energy and are following the same blueprint. It's like you wake up and you realize you've been living in an inverted world, like in the upside down, right? What's bad is good, what's good is bad. So they do not realize that they can trust themselves and utilize their eyes and their own level of awareness to see, truth from illusion. But nothing's changed as far as this system goes and the way it functions, and the Justice Department and the DOJ. They have been operating this way. They've just been hidden under a veil of our unawareness. But now that more and more people, our consciousness has evolved and expanded, we are able to see. And that's truly the only change. Nothing has changed in regards to those who created and run this matrix in the system. You've changed. Your ability to see, your ability to recognize, your ability to trust yourself, your ability to spot and recognize these patterns between your interpersonal life and people who have that same energy operating through them and follow that same blueprint in your own interpersonal life, and see it magnified and reflected back to you at a macro level on the world stage. It's the same stuff, man. Same energy. It's what's running not only our country, but because I'm telling you, war is sold and bought, and this illusion of, my country against your country, these countries that are warred against are used as scapegoats, just like in a narcissistic triangulation, right? So you have the collective, or like the citizens, right? And then you have the narcissistic abuser, and then you have this other country. And we're being triangulated in every which way. But I see it. And I also can go back and look back on past things and realize and recognize that nothing's changed. I mean, the Epstein class, the current administration, they're just freaking out because they're like, hey, this has always worked before. It's worked for everyone else, Why isn't it working now? But it's because our level of awareness and understanding, there has been a conscious evolution of humanity. So we're noticing. So we're more aware. So we're calling things out. So we're speaking truth. Fearlessly. And unwaveringly. We're calling it out. We're speaking it. We are calling for accountability. Anyone who's dealt with a narcissist, they will go through great lengths to escape accountability, to face themselves, to look at themselves, to sit down and carry the weight of their actions and the responsibility of the things that played out as a result of those actions. That is what is happening. They are all having a narcissistic collapse. And it really is up to us as a collective, as a people, irregardless of what country you're in, irregardless of your beliefs, to recognize that one thing that ties us all together is that we are consciously aware and we can see what they're doing. We can see their shadows. We can see the illusions. And we can see the truth. And right now we're at a time where I don't know. I know what happens after narcissistic collapse. I almost lost my life as a result of, in my own interpersonal life, noticing certain things and then calling these things out and speaking the truth and standing my truth and trusting myself. I almost lost my life because of that. And I do hope that at a macro level and as a collective whole, we can recognize what the next part of this blueprint that this class of people are operating on, what it means. I have seen people who have this energy operating through them destroy everything. Everything. If it means that they can escape accountability, if it means that they don't have to face themselves or look at themselves. I have seen the links that people operating on this blueprint and who have this energy working through them, the lengths that they will go to continue hiding, to continue operating in the shadows. But unfortunately, the noticers are noticing. There aren't very many shadows to hide behind now. And so if you've ever been on the receiving end of narcissistic abuse, you know what happens next. So it's important that we have a strong connection and support network as a collective humanity. Those of us who can see, those of us who are aware, those of us who are standing and operating in truth, that we support each other. That we love each other. And that there's more of us than there are of them. Just saying. Anyways, those are just some things that have been on my mind as of late. I am sending you guys so much love to the universe and beyond. Bye.